My name is Jake Thompson, and I used to be one of the shyest kids you ever would have met. If you would have met me when I was in high school or junior high, you probably would have been like, wow, like this kid is like, I would go to a party and I literally would not say a word. I would stand in the doorway and I would just be like the weird, creepy guy. Yeah, that was me. Today, I want to share with you guys my story and my story about how I am here right now talking to you. So let's go back and let's get into how I got into hair. Well, first off, I got into hair because my mother, I was one of those kids that was living in a purple haze. Let's just be really honest, okay? Purple haze, all right, I might have smoked a little too much wacky tobacco. Let's just get real, all right? It is what it is. Now, when she had mentioned hairdressing, I was kind of like, well, I mean, my first initial thought was, I'm not gay. You know, this was 27 years ago. And she's like, well, you don't have to be gay to be a hairdresser. That's just a stereotype. She's like, actually, there's a lot of famous hairdressers out there. And she started to name off like Paul Mitchell, Vidal Sassoon, and I was like, I only heard one word. I was like, famous. I can do this. Done. And so I got into hairdressing, but the thing about what was so interesting when I started hairdressing, I just loved being around women. And they were always asking me, hey, what's your name? Where are you from? What's going on? You know, women talk a lot. Right? And again, I was shy. Let's go back to that. Being super shy, like they kind of opened me up, and just the hairdressing cosmetology school in general just really kind of opened me up as a person. And it allowed me to blossom into not so weird, awkward person now, if that makes any sense. So 25 years later, you know, that's how long I've been doing hair now. But along the way, I've met certain people that have allowed me to become a salon owner. Sean and Angie are the co-founders of Lunatic Fringe. I owned the Sugar House Lunatic Fringe for 15 years. And I never wanted to be a business owner. That was never essentially one of my goals, because I'm an artist and I just loved creating. I was very artistic in high school. I liked doing charcoal, like working with clay. I just liked kind of working with my hands in general. But I never really knew what my medium was until I entered into hair. But when I entered into hair, I was not a good hairdresser. I was a really bad hairdresser. Like I was all thumbs. And so I just want you guys to know, like, it is taking me years of practice to be able to finesse hair the way that I do today. But first, when I started, I was horrible, absolutely horrible. And so just know, if you are going to be getting into something, it does take that practice to get really good at your craft or whatever it is you're doing. Being a salon owner had opened up doors to photography. And I started shooting, well, I started working with a local photographer that we would kind of co-collaborate on collections, and we would shoot every Thursday night, and we would just get together artistically and just build our portfolio. Well, that led into me wanting to shoot my own stuff, because since I was hiring out for photographers, I was like, being a creative, I was like, I can do this. Yeah, I didn't know what I was doing. Again, buy the nice camera, buy the nice lights. I'm like, all right, let's do this. Let's start taking some photos. Well, it's not that easy, right? Like the composition, just everything about photography, you think you know what you're doing, but that practice, again, took many, that took many years to get to where I am, to where I know what I'm doing with photography. But that was, again, a natural extension from working with my hands in hairdressing. Photography had allowed me to spread my wings. I started to enter competitions. Now, competitions that were national competitions, local competitions, international competitions. And the first time, like, I started entering in 2006. No, I'm sorry, it was 2004 I started entering. I got my first nomination in 2006 for this award called NAHA, which stands for North American Hairstyling Awards. That was something that I got nominated and I was like, wow, that's success kind of came somewhat easy. I'd worked with another photographer. I wasn't shooting at that time. And I was like, oh, this is cool. I didn't win. And I'm kind of really glad I didn't win, because when success comes too early on in your career, you don't appreciate it, or you don't have the experience to back it up. And so I kept entering year after year after year after year after year. So 2011, that's when I had my first big break. I was like, oh my gosh, like this, I had got nominated with my collection I had shot. It was working with two different mediums. We had worked with CGI, and then we'd work with real models and photography. And so we just kind of we sync those two things together. And I'm going to show you right here, that little photo. With that specific photo, I had won NAHA. Like, I had won my first official national award. And that right there was such a huge moment for me. I was like, this is the place to be. This is, I mean, honestly, like I was on the highest of highs, right? There's nothing like that, to be recognized by your peers. And I was up against some heavy hitters in the industry. Nobody knew who I was. I was, again, that awkward, like, creative in the corner. That was one of my big breaks in the industry. And so that's when people started to recognize who I was. So from 2011, I got nominated in 2012, I got nominated in 2013 again. I didn't win those 2 years, but I got nominated again in 2014, and I won that year. And so in 2014, that was my second big break. Now, why was that a big break for me? Because that collection, I was so proud of that photography. I'd spent hours trying to perfect the lighting. And I'll show you that right there. It was black on black. So the models were all black, the background was all black, and the hair was all black, and just the way I lit it. I'm gonna pause here just really quick, and I'm gonna go even further back to when I was getting out of high school. This little nostalgic here. When I was graduating from high school, one of the things was that I was very into music. I was very much into electronic music. DJs, went to, underage, like clubs, raves, things like that. Well, that's where my love and my fascination for electronic music had started. And so when I had gotten out of high school and I was dating my first serious girlfriend, I'd gotten into DJing. And again, me being at that point in my life, I was doing hair at the time, but I would also have this love for electronic music. Oh, I went out, I bought 2 turntables and a mixer, right? Again, not knowing anything how to DJ at all. The new DJs with all the fancy electronic stuff, it's so easy to learn how to DJ. All you do is press a button, you can sync them up, yada, yada, yada. If you're trying to learn how to mix like records, that's a new form of art. It's really, really hard to do. Well, bless their heart, all my friends, I would be like, come on over, man, I want to play for you. Bless their heart, they were super nice. I sounded like crap. Like, it was like the worst thing ever. Okay? But today, I still DJ to this day, and I love it. So now let's come back. So after my second big break in the industry, still DJing, because music, again, integrates really well with my passion for hairdressing. Whenever I'm in my studio and I'm creating, I'm always listening to electronic music because it takes my mind in a place that allows me to just focus in on like another level of creativity. And so being artistic on the level of hairdressing, photography, music, it allowed me to be able to create some of the collections I'm super proud of to this day. So if you didn't know that, into music, I've dabbled in a little bit of music production as well. Anyways, that's for another day, another video. We don't want to get into that. So the point is that hairdressing has kind of weaved where I am today. And one of the things that makes me want to share my story with you and to share my weekly videos with you is that I'm a very integral hairdresser. Now, integrity is super important being in any sort of customer service business. Guys, I just want to call it out really, really quick. There are crappy hairdressers out there. Hairdressers that don't have integrity. Hairdressers that don't take pride in their work. And the reason why I created this channel is to show that there are amazing hairdressers out there that care about you, that care about your hair, and want the best for you and your hair. And I just wanted to show people how passionate I am about my craft and to show you guys, some really cool things along the way. Hopefully make you laugh, because I think I'm pretty funny. My wife, maybe, yeah, sure, let's go with yes, My daughter, yeah, she thinks I'm funny. Actually, I am funny. If she's the only one that's laughing, hey, it's all good. My third big break was meeting my wife. We had met on a Saturday. I had actually shot one of my avant-garde collections that day, so I was on this just natural high. And I met her at a mutual friend's party, and she was somebody that when I walked in, I hadn't seen her yet. And as we're walking in, as I'm kind of hanging out, I noticed her. And she looks like Britney Spears. Like, seriously, she looks like young Britney Spears. And who doesn't like young Britney Spears, right? You're just kind of like, man, she's sexy, right? So I see her and I asked one of my friends, I'm like, who's that? And so he's like, that's Kelsey. And I was like, rock and roll. And as the night progressed, I'm like, well, you gotta introduce me. So he introduces me. Well, we're in the kitchen talking and getting along really well. The vibe when you first meet somebody, you're just like, there's this natural kind of just connection. Well, that's what it was. And so I knew from then, I got her number that night. I didn't want to play any games with her. So I texted her later that night and I was like, I'd love to take you out on Monday. So we had scheduled a date on Monday, and it was interesting because it's almost like I had known her forever. We're going on this date and it's like we had never left each other's side. Like, I was hanging out with her, she was hanging out with me. We were just kind of, a little secret about this is that I knew I loved her very early on. And it was something that I didn't want to just throw it around. So I almost waited a year to the date to tell her that I loved her. And it was such a special moment for us. And she's probably going to, that I'm sharing this story with you guys, but it's a really special moment to me. And so with that, I never wanted kids. I'll be really honest about that. But meeting her, she made me want kids. We have a daughter. Our daughter's name is Sailor. She is one of the most beautiful little angels ever. And so that was probably the biggest break that I've ever had. And I'll tell you this right now is that being an artist and being a creative, I want to share with you guys is that artistically, we get so in our mind and we get so isolated about creating that we don't let people in our life and why we do what we do. I'm gonna share with you guys a secret that's gonna hopefully save your relationship or save a relationship that's going to come later on in your life. Bring your people into your art. If you don't bring the people into your art and your creativity, they're gonna feel like that art and what you do is going to be a mistress. They'll never compare to that. But if you bring those people into your art and why you create, they'll never feel like they're competing against it. Honestly, guys, I truly just wanted to share with you guys what kind of makes me tick and where I came from. And the thing is that you guys, no matter what, no matter your age, right? I'm in my young 40s. The thing about it is that it's never too late to follow your passion. It's never too late. But what I would tell you is that Tell me who your friends are, and I'll tell you who you are. And that's something that I learned later on in life, and I wish I would have learned it a lot younger, because again, I was running around with some people that maybe didn't have my best interests at mind. Honestly, man, the people you surround yourself with are the people you will turn out to be. So with that, guys, I appreciate you guys listening. If you listened this long, I'll see you guys in the next video. Okay, peace.